Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, today is the online lecture number 5 of the subject Biodiversity and Conservation. Topic of the today's lecture is IUCN categories for threatened species. This is the discussion agenda, including importance of Red Data Book, categories for threatened species, criteria for recognizing different categories of threatened species. Now, before going into the details, let's define IUCN. IUCN is an abbreviation of International Union for Conservation of Nature. It's an international organization working in the field of nature conservation and sustainable use of natural resources. It is involved in data gathering, analysis, research, field projects, advocacy, and education. Moreover, it is a federative membership organization composed essentially of governments or governmental agencies and scientific professionals and conservation organizations. In fact, its foundation was laid in 1948 at the international conference held at Fontainebleau, sponsored jointly by UNESCO and the government of France. The present name IUCN was given to this organization in 1956. IUCN is also now designated as the World Conservation Union. Another term that will be used in this lecture is threatened species. What are threatened species? So, a threatened species can be defined as one believed to be at significant risk of extinction in the foreseeable future due to stochastic or deterministic factors, or a combination of both affecting its population or by virtue of its inherent rarity. Inherent rarity means that its genetic makeup might possess certain threats to that particular species, and it leads that particular species towards extinction. Two aspects in definition are difficult to define. Number first, what levels of risk is significant, and number second, what part of the future is foreseeable. Threatened species pose both scientific, economic, and moral challenges. In fact, three. Scientific, because their loss would disconnect evolutionary links. That's an important thing. Economic, because such species, or at least some of these genes, might prove useful in the future, if not now. And moral, because human beings are to be blamed for causing the extinction or endangerment of a component of nature and a fellow being. So in general, threatened species are at higher risk of extinction in the foreseeable future. Now, what is Red Data Book, and what's the function of this book? This book is actually published regularly by the IUCN, and this is actually a list of global conservation status of animals, fungi, and plant species. You can consult, or you can surf through this website, and you can have this Red Data Book, and you can also type the species you want to check that what is the current conservation status of that particular species. Now in total, the IUCN in the Red Data Book till now, they have assessed 116,000 about species for the conservation status, while their goal is to at least by 2020, I mean by the end of this year, they have to achieve the target of 160,000 species. So still around 45,000 species are left, and no doubt they would achieve this target. Meeting this goal will provide the most up-to-date indication of the health of the world biodiversity to guide critical conservation action. Now, they would provide us some guidelines that what we should do now and what conservation practices we should adopt now to protect or to conserve a particular species from extinction. This Red Data Book actually was first conceived by Peter Scott in 1963. He was working in a wildlife, and in that he was actually in the forest. He was documenting the threatened species into a register, and that also include definitions of the degree of threat. So he was actually the first one who have started registering the species which has immediate threats or certain. Also, he defines certain threats even. And this register or this data was first published by the IUCN, and later on it transformed into a Red Data Book, which is now part of your course. And this is extremely important, not only for the curriculum purpose, but for the governments to take serious actions on the respective species of their countries which are mentioned in this Red Data Book. Now these are the IUCN threatened categories. I mean how they analyze the species, and how they put a certain species into a category. So in total, all the species, that includes both animal species, fungi, plant species, in fact all the species. So they have divided all the species into two categories first, at the first instance. The first one is not evaluated, means they have not been studied yet for their conservation status. And the second one is like evaluated, means the data is there available on these species. Now evaluated species are further divided into two categories. The first one is data deficient. I mean the data is available on these species, but that is deficient, I mean not sufficient. While adequate data, I mean the data on these categories or these species in these categories is available adequately, and that is why they have been divided into these categories. So inadequate data is further starting from least concerned, then the near threatened, vulnerable, endangered, critical endangered, extincted wild, and finally extinct from the planet Earth. And here you can see this red line, that increasing risk of extinction means from the least concern. When you go this way, that means you are, or a particular species is moving from a least concern, means there is no imminent threat to that species towards extinction. We will define all these categories in the next slides. And here, one thing more to mention here is that the three categories are actually defined threatened categories before extinction in the wild, and these three categories are vulnerable, endangered, and critically endangered. They are called actually threatened categories. Now here you can see this, the IUCN have published this graph, and in this graph you can see that starting from, let's suppose, 2000 to 2020, there is an immense, they have achieved assessment of the data. I mean the assessment of the conservation, assessment of the data on different species, and they have covered approximately 116,000 of species assessed so far here, and that we have already discussed in the previous slides. And besides that, the threatened species are also increasing as the assessment of the assessed species are increasing. So beside wise, threatened species are also increasing, because more and more species comes into the assessment. That means we know about more species, and that is why more species comes into the threatened categories. Now these are the IUCN threatened categories. The first one is extinct species. What are extinct? It is being denoted by EX. These are actually the species not definitely located in the wild during the past 50 years, but which may survive in cultivation. They have been extinct totally from the wild in the last 50 years, but they have the capability to survive in the cultivation. I mean, if the seeds are somewhere present, so they can be survived. Extinct in wild. These are those categories of plants which have been lost in the wild. I mean, you cannot see these type of species in the wild. However, these are still present in the cultivation. I mean, certain species are there in the cultivation. Then the category is endangered species at the risk of disappearing from the wild state within a decade due to casual factors. That means that these type of species are at serious risk of disappearing from the wild. But why they are at serious risk? Because within a decade means within 20 years or 30 years or in 40 years or in even 50 years, they would be extinct either in the wild or maybe extinct later on due to causal factors. There might be some deterministic or stochastic processes, and these processes we have already studied in our previous lectures. There might be some anthropogenic factors, there might be some natural factors as well. Then the critically endangered, these are at extremely high risk. Endangered species, they are at serious risk, while these are at extremely serious risk of extinction in the wild in near future. Might be the endangered species would take 50 years towards extinction in wild, but critically endangered might be take maybe 10 years, maybe 5 years, even less than that. And the vulnerable. Taxon lively move into the endangered categories, into these two categories in the near future. Again, if the causal factors continue to operate, if there are again the causal factors, for example, if there are certain species which the people are using it very heavily, let's take an example of Carinoma tuberculata, which is locally called pavane. that is vulnerable, or even I fear that it is like might be endangered or critically endangered species. But say for example that that is a causal factor, because people are collecting it regularly to consume it as a food or as a medicines. So because that causal factors continue each year, and with the increasing population, even that causal factors becomes more intensive, and that is why certain species, for which I already give you the example of this Carilloma tuberculata pavane, that could be soon, very soon can be converted into critically endangered or endangered species. Then there is a near threatened category. They may be considered threatened with extinction in the near future, although it does not currently qualify for the threatened status. That means that they have the capability to be in the threatened status in these three categories. These species have the capability, because there are certain threats to these species which can convert these into vulnerable, critical, endangered or endangered. Then there is least concern, means that do not qualify as threatened, or they are threatened, means they at this point of time they don't usually need that much concern or attention, rather than to give attention to the other categories. Then there is a data deficient category. These species offer insufficient information for the proper assessment of conservation status to be made. That means data is available on these species, but that they are not sufficient that we should put that particular species into any of these categories. Then the not evaluated species are not yet have been assessed by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. There might be data available on these species, certain species, individually by different researchers, but by now the international or the IUCN have not yet assessed these type of species. Other categories also include rare. A species may be rare because of restricted geographical range. That means it is confined into a certain range, these type of species that might not be available anywhere. High habitat specificity means they are very specific to a particular location in a habitat, or the ecological conditions for such type of species are very narrow. They need specific ecological conditions. Small local population size, the population size is too low, or thinly scattered over more extensive range. That means that if there is a big area, and in that big area this type of species is scattered thinly, I mean only few species or few individuals of that particular species you can see on a big area, that's called thinly scattered, or a combination of above, or maybe a combination of above these four points, making a certain species rare. Then there is an intermediate category. Species considered definitely to be endangered, vulnerable or rare, but due to lack of information hard to assign any of these three categories. Is they have to be, I mean the data is deficient, but there are some clues that certain species could be endangered, vulnerable or rare in these three categories, but we cannot put or we cannot assign that this species is particularly endangered because the information is lack. But Of course, in these three categories, in these three types, the species belongs to any of these three types. So stay tuned, dear students, for the part 2 of lecture number 5.